Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah. This is Jar of Fireflies, and here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. And today we're going to be making Thanksgiving. Okay, so I'm actually filming this video about a week or so in advance, maybe a week and a half. I'm not really even sure what day it is anymore. But we are preparing in advance because this year things are going to be a little bit different in my house for Thanksgiving. Mainly, we will not be at my house. We are going to be doing Campsgiving this year. We got this crazy idea last year and it really stuck with us. So this year we are taking Thanksgiving on the road, headed out to a campground, and we will be having Campsgiving. Yes, in a tent with sleeping bags in the cold. Cooking our food over a fire, all that jazz. My next video will be a vlog of that camping trip and of Campsgiving, Thanksgiving Day in general. But for now, I need to get ready. So kind of my general plan was just to prepare all of the food that I can in advance, throw it in the freezer, and then when it comes to actual Thanksgiving Day, my husband will bring the food out to the campground for us and we will reheat things over the fire. I really hope this works out. We're gonna find out. So today I wanted to do pretty much all of the food prep and get that in. So things are a little bit different this year. Hold on, let me grab my menu. Because we're gonna be off at a campground and because I'm not gonna be cooking things the day of, it's weird, it's different. I gotta tell you, like right now, the thought of cooking Thanksgiving, and I've just been kind of like lounging around this morning, not really lounging around. We had like school and cleaning and all kinds of normal home things. But like normally Thanksgiving Day, I wake up and it's like, I'm on a schedule. I gotta get it done. This goes in the oven now. This goes in the oven now. Like if you see my old Thanksgiving videos, which I will link to in the description box below, they're like, I'm like, I have graphs practically. I'm very prepared for Thanksgiving. This year, I just have like a general list. Okay, so I'm gonna be making a turkey, which I'm gonna completely cook today, carve up, put in the freezer. Like it'll be just slices of turkey all ready to go on Thanksgiving Day. And we can either eat that at room temperature, kind of coldish, or we can heat that up over the fire a little bit. We'll see how we feel day of. Okay, I can't start the turkey yet though because my husband needs to bring me one of those turkey pans. I always just get a disposable one every year. I really should just get my own pan, but I don't know. The thought of having a pan that I use once a year is just a little crazy to me. Anyways, so I am waiting on that. Okay, another thing, my kids requested macaroni and cheese this year. I understand that it's traditional in some parts of America to have macaroni and cheese with Thanksgiving. I have never had a Thanksgiving in a part of the country where that is traditional, but hey, this may become a new tradition for us. So I'll get into how I'm gonna do that for us later on. Cranberry sauce, pretty simple. I do that every year. That one's super easy to make and store in advance. Stuffing, we're gonna be making the stuffing inside of the turkey when I cook the turkey later. And so for that stuffing, what I'll do is I'll take it out of the bird and then put that, once it cools down, into a Ziploc bag and put that in the freezer. And again, I can pull that out, thaw it out when it's ready for Thanksgiving, and we can heat that up again over the campfire. I'm also gonna be making cornbread dressing. Super yum. Started making this last year, absolutely loved it. Totally didn't save the recipe anywhere, but luckily I filmed it last year. So I went back, watched the video, took notes of my own cooking. A little awkward, but it works. And now I have a recipe for that I can make today. And again, I'll just put that again in a Ziploc baggie, throw it in the freezer, save it for when we're ready to go and have Thanksgiving on our trip. Sweet potato souffle. So this I'll be making in a pan. I'll just make it in a disposable pan this year, and then I'll be able to bring that with me on our Campsgiving trip. And then gravy, which I will make, store in a container in the freezer, which again, we can thaw out and bring with us on the trip. So something major that I'm not doing this year is Chex Mix. I always make Chex Mix. It's one of those things where like, it's not Thanksgiving unless there is Chex Mix. And we're gonna skip it this year because you know what? It's also probably not Thanksgiving without my own bed, and yet here we are. So, so I will not be making Chex Mix this year, and that's okay. We can do without. I'll make it when we get home or something like that. Okay. All right, let's gather these ingredients together and let's get started. After I had laid out all of my ingredients, I grabbed some washi tape and started taping all of my different recipes up on the cabinets. I like to do this because, well, one, the washi tape doesn't damage the cabinets at all, and it's very easy to move things around. And then the reason that I put them up on the cabinets is so that I can easily have all the information that I need while I'm cooking just right there. So the menu, so I can see what's next, and my recipes. So everything's right there and they won't get dirty or damaged or need to be moved around. Okay, so once everything was ready, I started working on the sweet potatoes for the sweet potato souffle. So these need to cook in the oven for about an hour or so. This ended up being an hour and a half for me today, but they need to get all softened up before I'm able to actually make the sweet potato souffle. This is totally something that you could do in a day in advance. If I was cooking on Thanksgiving Day, I would have done this the day before, but since I have all day today, I'm just doing it now. So I used about 5 medium sweet potatoes and I just cut them up and put them in this baking tray that I had sprayed with a little bit of canola oil, and I'm just putting them in the oven on 350, and I set the timer for an hour. Okay, now those sweet potatoes are in the oven, so those will get nice and soft over the next hour or so. Then I can let them cool and work on putting together that sweet potato souffle. So in the meantime, I will dive into the cranberries because that just needs to be done on the stove top, and it's perfect for me to work on that while I'm waiting to get back into the oven. So cranberries is super simple. I just use a cup of water and a cup of sugar and a bag of cranberries from the store, a bag of fresh cranberries. And I always double this recipe, which is why you just saw me do the 2 cups of everything. So 2 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar, and then I'm just putting that on the stove in a pot and I'm stirring that so that everything dissolves and nothing gets real sticky. And I'm just waiting for that to boil. It's so close right now, you guys. And then I will add those cranberries in, and so there we go, nice boil. So I'm adding the cranberries in. I did wash those off in the sink. So I'm adding those in now, and those will be in the pot for about 10 minutes while they boil. You really could do a little bit less than 10 minutes. I felt like I overcooked them a little bit this year, but hey, nobody's perfect, right? So yeah, those are just going to cook for 10 minutes and then they will be done. Okay, so the cranberries are all done. I put them right back there into the corner so they can just cool off there in the pot before I'll transfer that into a container that I don't mind taking camping with me. And now, what do we got left? The potatoes in the oven still have about another 35 minutes. That's if they don't need anything extra than the hour that I originally put it in there for. So while that's in there, I'm gonna go ahead and start getting ready the cornbread for the cornbread dressing. If that cornbread ends up sitting out on the counter for a little bit before I put it in the oven, that is no trouble at all, because I have found in my experience and from like the internet, what other people say as well, I have found that when you let the batter of like cake or cornbread or like whatever sit out on the counter for about 30 minutes before you put it into the oven to bake, that it actually turns out a lot better. Something about something in these gluten-free mixes, I don't know, it's just better that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into that. And like I said, if it sits out, no trouble at all. So let's make some cornbread. Okay, so getting ready to make that cornbread for the cornbread dressing. I am making cornbread from a box mix, actually from 2 different brands of box mixes. So kind of mixing that up together a little bit. So I'm doubling this recipe again so that we can eat some for dinner and then some to save for Thanksgiving. You can never have too much dressing. Let's be honest here, right? Now I am using soy milk so that it stays dairy free because we are eating this with turkey, which is considered meat for us as Jews who keep kosher. We don't want to mix that with anything dairy, even in the same meal. So that is why we're using the soy milk, to make that dairy free. I did replace some of the oil with applesauce. This is something I do in my cake mixes all the time, and I thought I would try it here in this cornbread recipe. Because the cornbread is a sweet honey cornbread recipe anyways, or not recipe mix, I figured it wouldn't hurt, and it turned out really well. So I will probably be doing this again. I tend to like to replace the oil in recipes just to make it a little bit healthier. So I'm just grabbing another one of these casserole dishes. I picked these up at IKEA years ago. I don't know if they still have them, but they're really fantastic. And just adding in that prepared cornbread batter and then spreading it out so it's nice and even. And then I can put that in the oven when the sweet potatoes come out. Okay, to continue prepping for the cornbread stuffing, I'm adding in this vegan Beyond Breakfast sausage. I'm using spicy this year to try that out. By the way, it turned out really well. So this is just kind of checking off one more thing off my list as far as prepping the ingredients. So this way it's not going to be too hot or anything. This would have completely cooked and completely cooled off before I'm ready to actually mix together the ingredients there for the cornbread stuffing. Okay, so the sausage is just going to cook over here on the stovetop. When that's ready, I'll pull that off and just put it on a plate to the side till I'm ready to use it. But this way it'll be like cooled off so it won't like hurt my fingers when I try to cook with it later. Okay, and at this point, the sweet potatoes should be out of the oven here in about 5 minutes or so. And then I can put this cornbread right in. The cornbread needs to cook for, I use 2 different mixes, so I'm looking at both of them. Bake it 20 to 32 minutes, and then this one needs 30 to 35 minutes. So I'll probably do 30 minutes. My kids are so excited for the cornbread to come out of the oven because they want some right now. That is the other perk, by the way, of cooking Thanksgiving well before Thanksgiving, is that we can totally eat all this food tonight for dinner and we'll have it again next week. So I guess we're eating the leftovers early. So anyways, yeah, so I'll turn the camera off here for just a little while the sausage is cooking and the cornbread is baking. Because then what's next? Because yeah, I won't need to turn this back on until probably the sweet potatoes are cooled, or at least until the cornbread comes out of the oven. So basically when I'm ready to put together that sweet potato souffle and this cornbread dressing, then I will turn the camera back on. But for now, it's just kind of getting these slow prep things done, like baking the cornbread and cooking the sausage. So we'll see you guys momentarily. Okay, so I have just pulled these sweet potatoes and the cornbread out of the oven. I put the cornbread in, pulled the sweet potatoes out, and realized the sweet potatoes really were not done yet. So I put them back in with the cornbread, and after 30 minutes, they were both done. So the cornbread is sitting right there, and then we've got the sweet potatoes over here next to it. So both of those need to cool off before I can do anything else. And I've also cooked the sausage back there. So it's just sitting there, it's cooled off, it's ready to go. So I'm just gonna let this stuff cool for a little bit before I come back, but let me just check my list. Okay, what do we have? All right, so turkey. I'm still waiting on my husband to come home with the turkey pan. The macaroni and cheese. Maybe I'll get started on that here in a minute. I probably will run that tonight. What I'm gonna do with that is run it in my dehydrator. We'll talk about that later. Cranberry sauce is done, just needs to be stored in the fridge, but I'm just waiting for it to be like really cool before I start handling it because that stuff is hot. The stuffing, can't do that till I've got my bird ready to go in the oven. Cornbread stuffing, wait for the cornbread to cool off. Sweet potato souffle, waiting for the sweet potatoes to cool off because they are steamy hot right now. I'm not touching those. And gravy, need the turkey for that. So we are at a pause. This is pretty cool. So I'm gonna go take a break and come back when I'm ready to dive into these dishes. Okay, and I'm back. Great news. My husband came home with that turkey roasting pan. So I'm gonna work right now on getting that stuffing ready to go inside of the turkey so the turkey can go right inside of the oven. Okay, so that is what is happening right now. Let's go make some stuffing. So I make my stuffing for the turkey. I do cook it inside of the turkey. And in past years, I have also cooked a separate container of it outside of the turkey just so we have more. But now that I'm making that cornbread stuffing also, that's really just a little bit excessive and it ends up not really getting eaten. So I am only making enough to put pretty much inside of the bird. There may be a little bit left over and that would be fun. I would not complain. Okay, so I make this exactly the way that my mom did growing up. So to me, this tastes like home. So I will take one onion and then chop that up. It doesn't have to be super small, but you do want it to be small enough so that, for me at least, my kids don't see the onion and freak out. And then I'm just chopping up a bunch of celery. I want to have I don't know, maybe about a third more proportion wise of celery than I do of onion. But I have found that one onion and then like one, I guess, what do you call it? One thing of celery when it's like still connected. I don't know what you call that. What do you call that? Like a head of lettuce, but it's like a head of celery. I don't know. Anyways, I saute that on the stove there just till it's not even brown, just till it's like cooked with a little bit of dairy-free butter. So I'm using, I think, Earth Balance or Smart Balance or something like that. And then once that is finished cooking, I will add in some poultry seasoning. I'm very generous with the poultry seasoning, so I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to put in there, but I just put in a lot. And then as that is all occurring and stuff, I am chopping up my bread. I do like to take the crust off just because I don't really like the crust in my stuffing. So I just do as thin as I can there around the crust. And my kids ended up eating all the crust at the table, which was kind of funny. They were like, ooh, snacks. So anyhow, once I got the bread cut up, I put that into a bowl and then I added in the onion mixture and then some chicken broth, probably about a cup of chicken broth overall, maybe a little bit more. I want it to be not dry, so I don't mind using a little extra of the chicken broth. And of course, a little extra poultry seasoning. So once I've got that all mixed up, I'm ready to go ahead and start stuffing that inside of the bird. Now you could totally cook this, like I said, outside of your bird. If you were going to do that, I would bake it covered at 325 for about 30 to 45 minutes. But if I was doing that also, I would definitely add in some extra chicken broth to make sure that it's not dry. Okay, and of course I forgot to buy string for the turkey again this year, so I used my little foil trick that I picked up last year, and that worked out just fine to hold the turkey together so that it would cook very nicely. Okay, now the turkey has been in the oven for about an hour. It has got about another 2.5 hours left before I'll take that out. So what else? I've got had a little bit of stuffing that didn't fit inside the turkey, so I'll just cook this up separately, and darn, I'll just have to eat it now. And now I'm gonna put together that cornbread dressing and the sweet potatoes so that when this turkey comes out of the oven here in a couple hours, those will be ready to go in. It's gonna be a late night tonight, you guys. Now I know why I do this whole chart thing and start my cooking early and plan my meal for 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because it is now like 5:30, so if I've got another 2 hours, that's 7:30, and then I've got to cook everything else for another 30 minutes, which is going to be like 8. So dinner's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight, but that's okay. I'll go to bed happy and filled with turkey and sweet potatoes and stuffing and all those good things. And I also went ahead and put the cranberries. They were totally cooled off, so I put them in these little containers. I've got 3 of them, so I'm leaving 1 out to eat tonight. The other 2 are in the fridge. I'll probably only bring 1 of these containers with us camping because I'm pretty much the only one who likes cranberries.
No. Bring 2.
I'll bring 1 because this is a lot of cranberries. My older son is telling me that he loves the cranberry sauce, so we shall see. We shall see. But still, this is a lot of cranberry sauce, so I will just bring this 1 container. What does this hold? 16 ounces? I don't even know. Okay, a child is calling me, so I'm gonna go deal with that, then come back in here, turn on the camera, and get to work on that dressing and sweet potatoes. Okay, so for the cornbread dressing, y'all know I've already baked my cornbread and I've cooked up that sausage. So now all I need to do, I'm chopping up an onion and then I'm gonna saute that a little bit in a pan with some fake butter, again, some dairy-free butter. And that just needs to go again till it's cooked, not until it's brown. You don't want it to be brown. I also added in about 4 cloves of fresh garlic into the onion mixture as well. While that was all cooking, I worked on cutting up into cubes my cornbread. And while I was doing this, I did notice that the very center of it wasn't quite fully cooked. So I just took the parts of this that were fully cooked and added that into my bowl and left the uncooked parts out. So then I added in that sausage. I've already chopped up that sausage a little bit and added in my onion mixture and some fresh sage. And of course, my favorite poultry seasoning. Again, I'm not really much for measurement, so apologies. But yeah, I just mixed all this together. And then once that is all mixed together, I add in some chicken broth. Again, about a cup of chicken broth. And I just mix all of that together. And then once that is done being mixed, I can put that into a pan. And I can bake that at 350 degrees for 30 minutes while it's covered. And then I do an additional 15 minutes after I take the cover off. Okay, so that cornbread and sausage dressing is all done and ready to go into the oven. So now I just have to throw together those sweet potatoes and I can take another break. Okay, so I am doing the sweet potatoes in my KitchenAid just to keep things super easy. And so I've got about 5 medium sweet potatoes, which I have already cooked till they are very soft. And then I'm adding in 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, about a teaspoon and a half or so of vanilla extract, and half a cup of milk. Now, again, I'm making this dairy-free, so I am using the soy milk in here and not actual like cow milk. So, and then I'm just mixing that together until it is nice and smooth. All right, and while that is mixing up there in the mixer, I'm over here just in another bowl that I will mix by hand to do the topping for this sweet potato souffle. And so for that topping, I'm using about a cup of coarsely chopped pecans, a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of gluten-free flour to keep things gluten-free, and about a 1/4 cup of butter. Again, I'm not super huge on measuring, especially for a topping like this. So I stirred that as long as I could, then used my hands to mix the rest. And then I grabbed that sweet potato mixture off of my KitchenAid and just poured that into the pan. And then I can just sprinkle that topping on top. And then I will cook this in the oven uncovered for about 40 minutes on 350 degrees. Okay, now everything is done. Now I didn't do the macaroni and cheese yet. I do think that I'm going to save that for tomorrow, but I will make sure that I do include that on this video, so stay tuned. For now, these trays are just sitting over here, the sweet potatoes and that cornbread stuffing that was back there. So the turkey's got a little less than 2 hours left in the oven. So at about 8 o'clock tonight, I will take that out. And while the turkey's resting for a little bit before I slice it up, these 2 items will cook. And then I can basically just throw everything in the fridge because, okay, who am I kidding? I'm totally gonna make a little plate of food for myself for tonight, but not much probably at this point. I don't tend to eat so late at night, but I think there will definitely be an exception to that because Thanksgiving. Whew. Okay, so that stuff is just gonna sit there. I'm gonna turn the camera off and clean up, and I probably will check back with you guys later on when the food comes out of the oven and you can actually see what it all looks like done. Okay guys, we've got turkey. It's right back here. It smells so good. Though I do feel a little bit bad for my husband because he does not like the smell of turkey. And here I am cooking turkey all day, and then I'll be probably making soup out of this later this week with the carcass. So, sorry husband. Okay, so after I pull that out, I put in the sweet potatoes. They are in there for 40 minutes. And I put in the cornbread sausage dressing. So that is in there as well. That is in there covered for 30 minutes. And then I will take that foil cover off for another 10-15 minutes. Whew, okay, I'll show you those here in a few. Okay, everything is out of the oven now. Hooray. I'm just gonna let that cool off and stuff while I'm getting ready for bed. By the time I'm done getting ready for bed and all that stuff, getting the kids to bed because they're still up, then it's probably gonna be cool enough for me to at least move into the refrigerator with like a towel underneath it or something like that. I don't know, I never like putting hot things on the refrigerator glass shelves. Maybe that's the thing, maybe it's just me, I don't know. Okay, so I did make myself a little plate. So I've got some turkey, the cornbread stuffing, the sweet potatoes, and some cranberries. Took me way too long to come up with those names of things. Okay, and my husband also came in and he stole a little piece of the cornbread sausage dressing as well. So that's a hit. I'm pretty excited. Very good. Thank you. So he may not like turkey, but at least he likes the stuffing, dressing, whatever. Oh. And I just got some stuffing also. Okay, so I'm gonna eat that and yeah, call tonight a close. But I will be back tomorrow in this same video, so don't turn it off yet, to show you how I'm doing the macaroni and cheese to take camping with us. Okay, see y'all in a few. Hey friends, okay, I am back. It is a new day. Good night's sleep, feeling great today. All right, so time for that macaroni and cheese. We are gonna be using this Daya brand mac and cheese. I don't really know how to pronounce it. It is dairy-free and gluten-free, so that works out really well for us. So because it is gluten-free, my family can eat it because my son has celiac. And because it is dairy-free, we will be able to eat it with our turkey because we do consider poultry to be meat. So my kids really wanted mac and cheese with their Thanksgiving. So anyways, that's what we're doing. So what I'm gonna be doing, this is just like a box of mac and cheese. You've got your macaroni, and you've got this pouch of cheesy stuff. So I've got my water boiling right here behind me, and I'm just gonna cook the noodles exactly per the box's instructions. You can do exactly what I'm doing, by the way, with any kind of pasta and dehydrate that for camping or later use. So that's gonna be done here in about 8 minutes, and I'm just going to strain it like I normally would if I was cooking pasta in the sink. And then I'm gonna go ahead and rinse that pasta off. And the reason I'm doing that is to cool it off so that I'll be able to handle it. And then I will put it in my dehydrator. Okay, so this right here is my Presto Dehydrator. I got it off Amazon. I'll try to find a link to it and put that in the description box below for you if you are interested. This is how I prepare a lot of my camping food. So the point of dehydrating the pasta after I have cooked it is that basically turns it into instant pasta. So think about instant rice. You can take rice and you can cook it, and it takes, what, 20 minutes to cook rice or so? But then if you've got instant rice, all you have to do is add hot water. So when you cook the pasta and dehydrate it, it's the same concept, and then you get instant pasta. So instead of having to bring my water to a boil for like 10 minutes to cook the pasta out there over a campfire, which is a little bit difficult for me, all I have to do is get my water hot, which I can do easily with my camp stove, add the water to my package of this pasta, and it will rehydrate within a few minutes, and I can just add the cheese, mix it, and we've got macaroni and cheese. So after straining and rinsing my pasta to cool it off there a little bit, I have dumped this onto a towel, and I'm kind of patting it down and just trying to get a little bit more of that excess water off, because the least moisture that you're putting the pasta in the dehydrator with to start with, the sooner your pasta will be dehydrated. And to me, there's nothing worse than trying to dehydrate stuff and I end up staying up like till 10 or 11 at night waiting for my stuff to finish being dehydrated. I really wanted this to be done before I went to bed, and it was, so that is good. My dehydrator came with a couple of these mesh screens that you just saw me flip over, and those are super handy for smaller items like this pasta, or if I've chopped something else small up, these are great for that so that they don't fall through the wider holes of the regular racks. Okay, and that's it. That is going there in the background now. It's just gonna go for, I think, about 6 or so hours, and then that will be ready and the pasta will be all dried up. So now that that is loud, I'll go ahead and call this video a close here. Thank you so much for coming along today while I got ready for Thanksgiving. I really appreciate you. I hope that you are having a wonderful Thanksgiving today if you are celebrating. I'm sure I am, at least I hope so. Hope the food is all working out at the camping trip and we're all having a good time, but y'all will find that out on Monday. So, in the meantime, give this video a thumbs up, hit that like button if you are enjoying this video. I would super appreciate it. It means so much to me and it helps my channel out a lot. And be sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss any of my future videos. All right, with that, I'm gonna call this video a close. I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. They go much better. I got a text and it totally threw me off. I'm gonna go ahead and work right now on getting the stuffing. Did I make gravy? No, I did not make gravy. Will I make gravy? Maybe, maybe not. Right. Okay. So yeah, we'll see about the gravy, if that's gonna happen or not. But I did save like the drippings from the turkey so that I can make gravy, and we're just gonna see if I get to that today or not. So